Sometimes a small change in a shoe can make a massive difference. Today, we're reviewing the Hoka Mach X3. What's up everybody, I'm Eric McIntyre, aka Rad Dad Bod, and you're watching Rad Dad Bod TV, where we review running shoes. So today, like I said, we're reviewing the Mach X3, and if it's your first time watching one of my videos, you may notice some timestamps below. Feel free to jump around to the various parts of this video, but if you do so, I'd sure appreciate if you come back, watch the full thing when you get a sec, because I put a lot of time and effort into these videos. And if you've been a viewer for a while, but haven't turned on that subscribe button, or haven't hit that subscribe button, I should say, please consider doing so today, and turning on notifications so you get notified every time I drop a new video, which is typically Monday through Friday. Now, quick plug, I'm currently raising money for the Tokyo Marathon. If you like what you see today and you'd like to support the channel, please consider donating through the GoFundMe link in the description below, or using any of the affiliate links in the description, as any commissions that I generate through them are going to charity. Now, kicking off this video with some quick disclaimers and disclosures are that I actually received this shoe for free for the purpose of review directly from Weeviews, who has an affiliate relationship, if I understand correctly, with Hoka directly. I don't participate in any affiliate income. I'm paid a flat rate as a reviewer for the website, so no one actually gets to read my review. No one watches this video beforehand. This video has nothing to do with Weeviews. That's just how I got the shoe, but all thoughts are entirely my own. With that out of the way, let's talk about the intended use of the shoe. Now, the Mach X3 and Mach X line in general, for me, I think it fits as the plated trainer for Hoka. It's not necessarily their super trainer. The super trainer is going to be the Skyward X line. That's going to be more of your long run kind of marathon mile training shoe with that super max stack. The Mach X line is really going to be more of a little bit more rigid, a little bit stiffer, a little bit more pop plated trainer option for speed work as well as tempo work. That being said, that's how we're going to evaluate it today. Now, from a price standpoint, the shoe comes in at $190, which honestly is a little bit steep for a plated trainer. That really is more of like a super trainer price point to me. I mean, super trainers nowadays are all kind of coming in that $200 range, but for the most part, most brands, you can get a plated trainer for the $170 to $180 mark. So we are looking at a little bit of a premium. So I'm going to have to dock it a little bit there. Now, from a specs perspective, the shoe comes in at 10.2 ounces, which is 289 grams. And again, that is a little bit on the heavier side as well for a plated trainer, but not so far out of the realm where it's really going to affect the ride too much. But we'll talk about that in kind of underfoot feel and experience. The stack comes in at 46 in the heel, 41 in the forefoot for a 5mm heel to toe drop. That's a little bit different maybe than the specs that Hoka gives you, but those are the specs that I pulled from running warehouse, at least for the X2, and I'll talk about this, but this has and should have at least the same stack as the X2. Now, from a fit perspective, the upper fits a little bit narrow through the midfoot area for me, and then I would say that it is going to be standard true to size length, and then standard heel, standard toe box for the most part. I will be doing a full comparison video, by the way, between the X2 and the X3, and really the only thing that has changed for the shoe actually is the upper. So talking about that upper, the Mach X3 comes in with a warp knit upper. So you can see that it is a little bit different, but the main difference is going to be here in the heel, where you now have a standard heel cup with a heel flare. The previous version obviously gave a lot of irritation for a lot of people, a lot of Achilles rubbing, a lot of blistering, a lot of cutting, to be honest. So we had a lot of bloody heels in the last iteration. So having a warp knit mesh is a lot welcome with a shoe like this. Now, ironically, it both improved the shoe to me, as well as maybe is one of the downsides of the shoe, which is that, you know, I find that the upper is probably a little bit warm for a plated trainer, right? I like to have it maybe a little bit lighter, a little bit more breathable. And to be clear, this isn't like a max cushion shoe by any means. Like, you're not getting crazy warmth in it. I'm just saying that, yeah, like, it is a little bit warm. The other thing is that the tongue is not gusseted, which I feel like gusseted tongues should be the standard in an upper in running shoes nowadays in 2025. And the tongue itself actually comes up a little bit high, which for me didn't cause any issues. And honestly, I think I'd rather have a longer tongue than a shorter tongue, because a shorter tongue oftentimes means lace pressure. Now, despite not having a gusseted tongue, I felt like the lockdown still was really good. And I do like the upper. I just do wish that the shoe was maybe a little bit lighter overall. Now, the cushioning there in the heel is actually really nice. Very comfortable experience overall with the shoe, and it even kind of has, like, I don't know what you'd call this material. It's almost like a jersey material there on the back. It is very comfortable. It is very smooth. Like, there really is no shot you know, maybe there's someone out there, but there shouldn't be anyone out there who has issues with the heel of the shoe from a friction standpoint. I felt like the toe box itself gave me plenty of room to breathe, and the shoe itself, again, like regardless of pace, and I did test it out on a variety of paces, which we'll talk about, regardless of pace, I felt like my foot did feel locked in place for the most part. Now moving to the midsole, if you liked the Mach X2 midsole, you're gonna like the Mach X3 because it's exactly the same. The midsole of the shoe has a PIBA top layer and an EVA chassis or carrier foam. So this top layer here, which actually does go back into the shoe, is going to be that responsive PIBA foam. Then you have this firmer overall EVA foam, which kind of carries that foam or gives it a little bit more stability. As such, the shoe is very stable. In fact, I remember distinctly talking to Kofuzi last year at TRE, and he said that the Mach X2 to him felt like a stability Mach, which, you know, he was hoping for something a little bit more freeing. Now, to be honest, I like the shoe. I like the paces that it can hit. I do feel like the sensation, oh, and I should say that it also does have, it is a P-bax plate, so a plastic plate in the shoe that runs through the middle. It is winged as well, which is supposed to help with some of that stability. But, you know, I do feel like it's one of the more stable plated trainers on the market. A lot of times when you get speed, you give up some of the stability, you give up some of that, you know, the control in the shoe. I do feel like the EVA, as well as that kind of medial sidewall that comes up, does give a little bit of natural stability. The winged plate, kind of how the cutouts are done in the bottom of the outsole or midsole area. So I do feel like the stability is there, but I don't feel like it performs like a stability shoe in the sense that it's very slow. Like, despite its weight, I've done, you know, 400 meter repeats in the shoe. I've done like tempo work, like threshold style work in the shoe, and I felt comfortable at every pace. Now, I'm not gonna say that it's the fastest shoe out there. You're not really like flying off the ground. You don't get the snap that maybe sometimes you're looking for in a plated trainer. But if you're looking for more of a cruiser, that's really where this one fits for me. I do find it to be very, very smooth overall. And again, if you like the Mach X2, but you just couldn't do it because of the upper, well, it's the exact same experience underfoot. Now, for me, the improvements to the upper, though, did make this shoe a little bit more accessible. But I'm also not one who really had issues with the upper of the Mach X2, so I'm pleasantly surprised, and I feel like I need to go back to the Mach X2 a little bit more just to kind of explore that, because if that upper works for me, technically that shoe is lighter, so it should in theory work a little bit better for me. But I do think the overall fit, not just the change in the heel, but the overall fit of the upper is better for me, period. Moving to the outsole, you have that zonal rubber, which for me, I feel like it does really, really good. You know, I have just over 30 miles in the shoe, and there is a little bit of wear and tear there on the exposed foam right above kind of that rubber coverage. That's pretty typical with a lot of shoes, but I don't feel like I have any excess wear and tear, and I did feel like the grip was really, really good. You know, now that I look at it, maybe there is a little bit of wearing down on kind of that lateral heel area, just as I'm transitioning there. Maybe I'm heel striking as a fatigue or something along those lines. So there is a little bit more wear than I would expect there. But again, I feel like you're gonna get some decent durability out of this shoe, especially with kind of the dual density foams. Now, as far as who's this shoe for, you know, this is going to be your plated trainer. Obviously, if you liked the X2, but it didn't quite work for you, this is going to be a phenomenal option for you. You know, if you're looking for someone, if you're someone who wants to be able to do speed work, you're looking for a shoe that allows you to do some speed work, but still gives you the stability that you need, right? You're maybe a stability runner and it's hard to find a fast shoe. I do feel like this could fit in your rotation as your dedicated speed shoe and potentially even your dedicated, you know, racing shoe. I do feel like there's enough cushion underfoot where you could go the distance. It does feel fairly smooth as well. Like, I don't feel like it's going to be giving people like calf issues, things like that, for just from like that explosiveness, that toe off. And so I feel like for the most part, it is a conservative speed option. It's not going to be the fastest, but it probably is one of the more versatile shoes out there. Similar, not in feel, but similar in use to maybe the Endorphin Speed 4 last year, where it's not technically going to be the best shoe for short, fast runs, but you could use it for that, and you can use it a little bit for everything, right? And that nylon plate, or that P-bax plate, I should say, right? It's not so rigid that you don't still get flex, as you can see. If this was a carbon fiber plate, the shoe would be snapped, and that would have broken the shoe right there. So, just some final thoughts on the Mach X3. You know, good for Hoka for getting the feedback, I think, on the Mach X2. And instead of waiting years to put something out, they said, hey, we can fix that immediately. I mean, technically, that's kind of what they did with the Cielo X1 2.0 as well. They got the feedback from the X1. It wasn't exactly what they were looking for, so they fast-tracked the shoe for a 2025 release, when really the super shoe release for this year was supposed to be the Rocket X3, not the Cielo X1 2.0. So, you know, I think that Hoka took that seriously. They took the feedback seriously. You know, I haven't had a chance to try like the Bondi and the Clifton this year, so I know they made a lot of changes to those. We'll see though, maybe they go and change back if they get some bad feedback on that, right? So I should probably try and grab a pair of those and test them out and just kind of see what I think, because those were some pretty big updates overall. But I'm curious to see what's to kind of come from Hoka in 2026. I feel like they're kind of at this inflection point of, you know, are they gonna kind of lean into performance? I felt like the, you know, Cielo X1 2.0, big step forward in performance. I feel like the Mach X3, you know, I don't feel like this was a big step forward, but it was a good option. Like, we now have a legitimate plated trainer option within Hoka, and one that's not gonna slice your Achilles. So, you know, I just, it seems like their daily training line, as well as their trail line though, is kind of going weird directions. Racing seems to be headed in the right direction, so I'd love to maybe see more of the daily training models, maybe some of like the non-plated tempo models catch up to where the rest of the brand is going. So if you watched this far, I sure appreciate you. Let me know in the comments what questions you have about the Mach X3, or what I could be doing to make these videos even better, more entertaining, more educational, just more fun for every one of you. Again, quick plug, if you want to support my journey to Japan and raising that money for charity through the Sports Legacy Foundation by the Tokyo Marathon, please consider using the links in the description below, whether that is a direct donation to the GoFundMe link or utilizing the affiliate links, which do give me a kickback. It's all going to charity. It's all going to a good place. And lastly, we're going to wrap up with a question, which is, were you able to use the Mach X2? And if so, did you like it? Let me know in the comments below. Thanks, everybody.